Do you want to experience wonders up close? Then come with us on a journey to the 7 World Heritage Sites in Baden-Württemberg. But it is not just a journey into the past. Preserving our monuments is of great importance for both the present and future. Together, we ensure that future generations will also be able to experience these true wonders. In other words, we preserve who we are, and in doing so, create a link between yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We preserve Mary and Mark. The monastic island of Reichenau on Lake Constance is a centre of faith, politics and art. It is simply bursting with human creativity. 3 Romanesque churches, including the Minster of St. Mary and St. Mark, characterise the landscape. The only fully preserved example north of the Alps from the period before the 10th century, the nave murals are a wonder in bright colours. At the same time, the monks also cultivated the entire island and thus linked both spirit and nature in a wonderful way. We preserve even underwater. What motivated people between 5000 and 500 BC to build houses on wooden piles? The builders of the pile dwellings undoubtedly lived in times characterized by technical and agricultural innovations. The Neolithic and Bronze Age people moved their homes to the water and created impressive pile dwellings that offered them protection. In doing so, they lived from farming and fishing. The location of these architectural masterpieces on lake shores and in wetlands has allowed us to recover unique artifacts, such as remains of wagon wheels. Things that we take for granted today were a technical revolution in the Neolithic age. We preserve on both sides of the boundary. The Limes bears witness up to the present day of Rome's intention to dominate the world and to disseminate Roman law and culture. It ensured protection, but did not mean isolation. Instead, the 550 kilometers long Upper German Rhaetian Limes evolved into a busy contact zone in the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD and became a strong economic region from which the inhabitants on both sides of the frontier benefited. We preserve in caves. When you enter the cave landscapes in the Swabian Jura, you feel really close to our ancestors. In the numerous caves in the Lona and Ach valleys, you can easily visualize what life here might have looked like 40,000 years ago. They were not very different from us, our ancestors. These Ice Age hunters and gatherers already showed a great deal of creativity and artistic talent. The caves served as living spaces, studios, and concert halls for the early artists. We preserve a paradise on earth. Nestled in the picturesque Salzach Valley, the Cistercian Abbey in Maulbronn is one of the best preserved monastic complexes north of the Alps. Inside this architectural masterpiece, you do not need much imagination to immerse yourself in the monastic life of the Middle Ages. The builders created a true paradise during the transition period from Romanesque to Gothic. A particularly impressive feature is the ingenious water management system developed by the monks, consisting of canals, dams, and reservoirs. The deep lake, which today is a beautiful bathing paradise, was used for fish farming at the time. Water was routed from mountain springs into the monastery. The monks used the fountain house to cleanse both body and spirit. The monastery complex is therefore a masterly symbiosis of faith, art, and economic power. We preserve fountains of youth. Immerse yourself, in the literal sense of the word, in the fashionable life in Baden-Baden during the 19th and early 20th century. What does it mean to spend time in a world-famous spa town? Relaxation in the Friedrichsbad, refreshment in the pump room, gambling and pleasure in the casino, strolling through urban districts with historic hotels, villas and parks. Here, you can still experience the historic flair of the former summer capital of Europe. It is not without reason that Baden-Baden is one of the great spa towns of Europe. We preserve visionary. Thinking outside the box, having bold and new ideas, creating pioneering designs, or, as the architect Le Corbusier put it, a house is like a car, designed and constructed like a bus or a ship's cabin. It ought to be functional and practical, like the sleeping compartment of a train, but nevertheless well-designed and timeless. Every corner of these houses has been planned down to the very last detail and speaks a completely unique and new architectural language. With these masterpieces, Le Corbusier laid the foundation for a new standardization in housing construction and made a name for himself worldwide. We preserve who we are because we value where we come from. This is what has allowed us to develop into what we are today. And that should not be forgotten, even in the future. Can we call this a wonder? No, it's our world heritage in Baden-Württemberg.